Okay, so this is the last video of my three-part resolution writing series. This video I will be talking about operative clauses. In the last two videos, I went over basically the introductions of writing resolutions, the basic formatting of it, and then in the second video I talked about preambulatory clauses and what they do and how they function. How to write one. For this video, I will be talking about operative clauses, which is the biggest part of your resolution. This is where you want to be devoting most of your time with when you write a resolution. Preambulatory clauses, they can come last, but you want to focus, if not all, most of your time to writing operative clauses, since these are your plans on how you want to go forth with taking such action about an issue. So, operative clauses are like the meat and potatoes of your resolution. They are actual solutions to your issue, and you want to be specific and elaborate as much as you can with them. Each operative clause should correlate to a preambulatory clause that you write. So, for example, if you write a preambulatory clause that states that a definition of a word is a bit vague and that you want to elaborate more on it, you could write an operative clause that suggests you redefine what that word means and provide, I guess, what you want to include in that new definition. So with that example, basically your operative clause correlates with the preambulatory clause. They should, whoa, my gosh, I choked on a chip. Anyways, generally speaking, your operative clause should line up with your preambulatory clause. However, like I stated before, you should have more operative clause than you have preambulatory clause, since your preambs are more of the problems and your operative clauses are the solutions. So generally speaking, you want to have more solutions than you have problems. Going forth from there, here is the basic formatting of an operative clause. Like preambulatory clauses, there are operative phrases, which are suggestive words. I guess one way to put it, they're like action verbs where, suggestive words are verbs that tell you that you will be doing something. This is the action that you plan on taking. Like preambulatory clauses, there is a specific formatting for them, and while preambulatory clauses italicize the preambulatory phrases, your operative clauses should underline your operative phrases. So here we have an example of here I show you the operative clause is being I forgot the word, oh my gosh, underlined. Underline, you should underline them. You don't need to underline the entire operative clause, just the operative phrase, which is the first word or couple of words depending on what you use. And in the next slide, I will show you a couple of operative phrases that you can use and that we suggest using. Generally speaking, with operative clauses, you want to format them in numerical order. So there should be a couple of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. If you would like to add sub-operative clause, which we would recommend doing, you should add a letter next to it. So, for example, if you have an operative clause, there should be operative clause 1, sub-operative clause A. And then going so forth from there, I still don't know the terminology for it, if it's sub-operative of a sub-operative or sub-sub-operative, I really don't know. It should be in Roman numerals. So for example, operative clause A, operative clause 1, sub-operative A, whatever it is, and then a Roman numeral 1. I will provide you an example of what that would look like, just so you have a visual aid. And then, like preambulatory clauses, they should end with a comma. Some schools prefer to have a semicolon, but for the purposes of our school, we will be using commas. With the exception of the very last operative clause, which should end with a period. Basically, your entire resolution should be one long sentence, so your period will come at the very end. And then here are the operative phrases like I was talking about. So here we have accepts, congratulates, deplores, designates, emphasizes, encourages, further invites, deplores. Did I just say that twice? Oh my gosh, I use it twice. Anyways, moving on. We have note, recommends, remind, requests. These are words that are basically saying this is what I'm going to do and this is how I will do it. You can tell that they're very like affirmative. They have like a very affirmative tone with it, which is good, especially since these are your actions. This is something that you want to be doing. This is how you will be, I guess you would say, solving this issue. And then here we have an example of an operative clause. So generally speaking, your operative clauses should be fully planned out and include actions you want to take. Here we have operative clause 2, and again, like my preambulatory clause video, these are examples from my UNHRC committee. Operative clause 2 reads, seeks to bolster these social, humanitarian, and cultural committees' reporting mandate by A. permitting SOCHM to actively monitor and analyze states' treatment of journalists at the hands of law enforcement within their respective borders. B. submitting annual publications that will dually function as a means to provide states with best practices and offer up domestic policy solutions concerning the well-being and protection of journalists. So just going over the formatting real quickly, you can see here we have operative clause. It is numbered. They have the operative phrase underlined, which is seeks, and then here we have two sub-operative clauses, A and B, which basically provide a bit more detail on their action. And then this slide, I did not provide a visual aid, especially since it is long, but it will be coming up in the next slide. But you want to include a lot of details and want to be as thorough and specify as much as you can, just like in the last slide. Since these are your plans, you don't want to be vague. You want to include as much detail as you can. Just provide like any minor thing, like include this, we will be doing this, and so forth. So here we have operative clause 6. Stresses the importance of the use of surveillance technology through facial recognition and drone technology as a tool to protect public safety and safeguard national security. Sub-operative clause A notes the use and implementation of surveillance as a tool of protection. And then I'm not even going to bother with the terminology for this. Roman numeral 1, the voluntary and applicable use of surveillance by member states to serve as a tool of protection by equipping member states' respective governmental agencies with technology necessary to maintain safety by providing data on perpetrators violating public safety, national security, or when violence is inflicted. So again, going over the formatting, here we have operative clause 6. They have underlined the operative phrase. Here is sub-operative clause A, and then whatever that is called. But you can see the formatting where we go from number to letter to Roman numeral. And then again, you can see here that they have added commas to all of them. With operative clauses, you do not need to underline your sub-operative clauses, just the first operative clause. Any sub-operative or going so forth, you do not need to underline it. But you can see here that this has been very well planned out. They include a lot of detail, creation of an Information Technology Act, surveillance technology serves to protect. They have defined pretty much what surveillance is. And yeah, you just want to, I guess, mimic this and including as much detail as you can with them. And then next, you want to include any organizations such as NGOs that may assist in your policies. So NGOs are basically non-governmental organizations. They are, I wrote a definition here somewhere. I'm just trying to look at it. Yes, so non-governmental organizations, they will help promote some of your plans. NGOs are organizations that have developed independently from a government and tend to be non-profit with the intention of promoting policy that coincide with their beliefs. So here they say, operative clause 4, encourages all relevant actors to maintain diplomacy in handling internal matters such as, but not limited to, the rights of protesters and how it pertains to national security. Sub-Operative Clause A endorses the use of third-party missions to establish negotiation and peace between a state's domestic actors, as well as the relevant role in state building that non-governmental organizations provide. I wish they added an example of a non-governmental organization, but I can provide a few here. So with this type of committee, I guess one big non-governmental organization that you can include here would be Amnesty International, which is an NGO that promotes human rights and will take action against those who infringe upon such and abuse those rights. But yeah, you want to include any organizations that can help you with this and that will help, I guess, promote your resolution and so forth. And then just a couple of notes here with operative clauses. You want to keep in mind that Model United Nations, or the United Nations in general, is all about collaboration and debate. So with your working group, you want to make sure that you don't have any contradicting ideas, such as if you are working with a certain person or a certain delegate in a group and your ideas completely clash, he or she writes an operative clause that promotes this belief, but then your country does not believe that, then you want to talk with that delegate and see how you can, I guess, compromise on such an idea. You don't want any of your ideas to clash, or otherwise people will catch it and then will call your group out for that, especially since you want to provide a resolution that will promote, I guess, general peace among everyone about a certain issue. Also, some tips with working groups is that you generally want to know what the overall layout of your resolution is. You want to know, you don't need to know all the details, however, you should know what people are writing, what your resolution includes. Don't just focus on an operative clause that you are writing, don't just focus on yourself and what you have written, but also look at what other delegates have written. That way you have a better chance of knowing the overall layout of your resolution, and then have a better chance of getting up for authors panel, which will be discussed in a different video by Phil. But yeah, also that way that if you do happen to notice any writing in your resolution that you disagree with or that your country disagrees with, then you can talk with that delegate and see how you can fix that, how you can reword it or fix that operative clause in order so that your beliefs will align with each other. Also, it just generally does help benefit you if you know what other people are writing. That way, when you try to promote your resolution, you can talk to other delegates and say, "Oh, this is the general layout," and saying, "This is what we are trying to promote. This is what we are trying to do. This is what our plans are." That way, you can get more people to sign on as signatories for your resolution, instead of just saying like, "Oh, this is what I wrote." Again, Model United Nations, or the United Nations in general, is not just about me, me, me. It is about working as a team and working with other people and collaborating and compromising. And yes, that pretty much concludes our video for our operative clauses. Yeah, just to reiterate everything again, there is the three main parts: heading, preambles, operatives. Heading, very basic. You want to include the committee that you are in, the topic you are discussing, your sponsors, and your signatories. Preambles, which is basically your introductions. You want to include anything that you think is vital that you want to anything that is vital information that you will later address it through an operative clause, and then your operative clauses, which are your plans and actions that you are planning to take in order to solve some of these issues. And like that, you have pretty much just written a working paper. I was confusing the terminology, but yes, you have written a working paper, and then so forth. You will be given time to edit all of that and later submit it into your chairs and the dais, and then hopefully it will get passed as a resolution. But yes, thank you guys for watching these videos.